Hiya everybody, today we're going to be doing a little video about toilet cistern fittings. Well, the fittings in particular I'm going to be reviewing today because this is going to be a product review video. Basically, I'm going to be reviewing cistern fittings which you'll find inside a toilet cistern. Some of these components I got here. We have a blanking plug. And we have an overflow standpipe. Basically, the term overflow standpipe basically does what it says. It goes inside. It's pretty much, before I explain the purpose, this is pretty redundant and not relevant today because many cisterns will use this, which is called a blanking plug. Okay, if you've got a modern toilet, and if the cistern has a secondary hole, hang on a minute, let me show you what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. So basically, if you've got a cistern like this, and you've got two inlet holes either side, okay, which is, usually, you find these on cisterns made prior to 2001. Main reason of having a dual inlet hole either side, because you would have, years ago, you had an external overflow pipe supplied with a toilet cistern. Now, if you really wanted to, okay, you can plug that hole up with a blanking plug, but you'd have to use an internal overflow toilet siphon. Now that's a 2025 toilet cistern. I'm going to show you another example in a minute. So basically, this would be considered an outdated, goes against modern regs. You shouldn't install this in a modern toilet. Now this is a modern toilet. I'm just going to show you of basically what an overflow standpipe does. Now this is an internal overflow siphon, so this is not even relevant as far as today's standards go, because that's an 8-inch internal overflow siphon. And as you can see, that toilet siphon is lower than the handle hole. But the best thing I would recommend is, if you're going to remove this overflow standpipe and install this blanking plug, I would suggest that you'd measure the height of the siphon. If it measures 8 inches or 9 inches, and it's below the handle hole there, you can install the blank. But say if you've got the original siphon in situ, so say you've got an old cistern from the 90s, 80s or whatever, and you've got a 12-inch siphon, for example, 11-inch siphon, 10-inch maybe, you'd have to use one of these, which is called an overflow standpipe. Now I picked these up today at Screwfix, and I'm going to show you another example in a minute where this can be used. Okay, so give me 1 second. So basically, if you wanted to, if you have a modern toilet cistern made after 2001 and it's got a secondary inlet hole, there's another perfect example. I don't know if you can see that well. There we go. That's another perfect example where you could use a blanking plug. Okay, so it's got a rubber washer. You don't need any plumber's mate or silicone, any of that rubbish, because the washer will do the job. So basically, these are the Flomasta ones you pick up in Screwfix. Does the job, and basically it's got 5-year warranty from what I can see. I'll put the links down in the description where you can buy them. So it's got a 3/4 thread, so it's 21.5mm a meter compression connection. So basically you'd have an overflow pipe coming out the bottom end, going out the wall, which is old school, which is found back in the day. Now like I said, this is an internal overflow siphon, so this configuration here is fantastic, great, because you don't really need that standpipe. But if you've got the 11-inch siphon, then I wouldn't recommend installing a blanking cap unless you change a siphon out for an 8-inch one, which is similar to one of these. It could be a split siphon, like a Dudley Turbo, it doesn't matter. But as long as it's 8 inch or 9 inch, you can use the blanking cap. Because if you use a blanking cap and keep your original siphon in situ, you have an inlet valve by here, sometimes it could be on the right, doesn't matter. If the diaphragm washer in there fails, and you got the original 10, 11, 12 inch siphon, whatever height it may be, and you've got a blanking plug there with no overflow, what can happen is, this won't shut off, and water will just keep rising, and it can come out for the handle hole by here, and trickle out for the handle by here, and worst case scenario, obviously the cistern would overflow then, and then it'll flood your house in. But you're far better off if you're going to use a blank. It's cheap enough. Pick up a £5 siphon, Flomasta siphon from Screwfix. All these parts by here were sourced from Screwfix. Everything you can see by here, the overflow standpipe, the blanking cap, the flush valve, fill valve, all bought from Screwfix. I'll do a review on this at a later date. I need to show people how you can adjust those. Because only one way you can adjust them. And you can adjust the flush volumes on this, but this video is about blanking cap and the overflow standpipe. So yeah, like I said, if you're going to install a blanking cap, make sure you get a internal overflow siphon. You may already have one, but if you're going to install one, turn the water off, drain the cistern. Most importantly, measure the height of the existing siphon. Make sure the height is lower than the handle hole if you're going to install a blanking cap. If you don't need a blanking cap because you want to keep your original siphon in situ, just buy a replacement overflow standpipe. If the sealing washer fails, you can still get them. So the entire purpose of this video is to show you that these products are still available. Not sponsored by any of them, but you can still get them in Screwfix, and basically they're dead cheap. I'll put the links down in the description. I'll comment on the videos where you can buy them. Well, Screwfix, but I think other retailers do them as well. Like I said, this overflow standpipe is considered old school. Most of the toilets these days will use one of these because the siphon will come as internal overflow because it's part of the regs. If you can't really get many cisterns which have the secondary hole. Anyway, like this Lisko Atlas one comes with 2 holes. Okay, so therefore you're laughing. So yeah, some cisterns, obviously this one's made 2025, but some cisterns do come with a secondary inlet hole. But then you also get some cisterns which don't, and the cisterns that don't have a secondary inlet hole, on the left, right, whatever side it may be, you won't need a blanking plug because there'll be no hole there for it. Okay, which I'll show another example now. So this is another example where you wouldn't need an overflow standpipe or blanking cap because there's no hole there, as you can see. But that's got an internal overflow siphon, and you'd have to have an internal overflow siphon in the toilet with no overflow or no blank. You'd have to have an internal overflow siphon. So yeah, that's basically another example of a cistern without the hole on the left hand side for a blank or an overflow. So yeah, so how would you fix a blank or an overflow to a cistern then? I'll run you through that quickly now. So basically what you do is, for example, you're installing a blank, okay, this nut by here pops off, okay, you take this back nut off, 1 second, and then once I get it off, just showing you how it's done, okay, you basically go to your cistern. I'm not going to show you putting it in, I'm just going to talk you through how you would put it in. Now the rubber washer's on there, keep that washer on there. You take it to your toilet cistern which has that hole, if you're replacing an overflow standpipe or whatever. You slot it in that secondary inlet hole, maybe in where the overflow standpipe was, or maybe if you replace it like for like, another blanking plug. Pop it in, underneath the cistern then, I'll show you now, underneath the cistern then, it'd look like this, okay? When you tighten it back up, you tighten the locking nut back up, and that's what nip it up with grips, water pump pliers, and basically that locks it in place. Now for an overflow standpipe, okay, I'll talk you through that one. Now with your overflow standpipe already in the cistern, what you do is you take your one out, put this one in, make sure that rubber washer's on this side, as you can see there, on the bottom. It goes in, and underneath then you would see something like this, okay? Obviously with an extra pipe sticking out there. So basically, you got a plastic washer then compressed against the cistern with a back nut. So this would go, say like this would be in the cistern, this would be sticking out the bottom. You slide this up, doing it one-handed, slide that up. Obviously your cistern would be by air, and that would be against the bottom of the cistern. And then you take your back nut, okay? And then you tighten your back nut, try and do it one-handed, it's just a bit pain in the neck, you shouldn't really, okay? So I'm going to show you now. So you just tighten it up. Actually maybe not, oh hang on, it's got on it. So basically you just tighten it up. And basically that would compress against the cistern. That slim back nut there, that would compress against the rubber washer, plastic washer, whatever you got. And basically you'd nip it up with water pump pliers, pair of grips, and that little nut there would hold the external pipe in place. So basically not much to it, just tighten it up with your hands. Tighten up with your hands, and basically you have your cistern, well that nut to be bare, cistern then go in between the rubber washer and the plastic washer. That would be on the underside, that would be on the inside. So the rubber washer would be on the inside of the cistern. This would, the plastic washer with the back nut outside the cistern, as you can see on the tile up here, as I just showed you. Next, the external pipe then will go up through the standpipe, and this nut then will hold it in place. And maybe you can just nip it up with a grips or something like that. And that will hold that in place. But if you're replacing like for like, which with these you should, because these go against modern water regs, a modern toilet will not come with these anyway. So basically, if you're replacing, for example, an overflow pipe in a toilet system from 1990 or 1999, 2000, you know, measure the existing standpipe that's in the cistern, take the measurement off the existing standpipe, mark it on the new pipe, and then just get an hacksaw and cut it or at the required mark, and basically file it with a file, chamfer it with a file, and therefore it goes in the cistern. And it's simple as that. Poor explanation, I know that, not very good explaining, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so these are also available now, you can still get them. I picked these up today as a matter of fact, as of this video. As when this video has been published, I picked these up this morning, well this evening, sorry. And yeah, good bit of kit. I'd keep them. I keep them with me, like, so in case, for example, I need to do a complete refurb on a cistern, because you never know, just take these with you and then you never know. You might need to replace a standpipe, might need to replace a blanking plug, and the good thing Screwfix still get them. You can still get them in Screwfix. You can still get them. You Plumb Base will order them in, because Plumb Base probably don't stock, it won't stock the standpipe, but they stock these anyway, so you get them, no problem at all. But Screwfix, direct replacement, so no messing about. Toilet, I already did a review on the toilet, so we're not gonna do that again. So next I'll just do a review on the siphon and the fill valve and the coupling kit. Well, I did a coupling kit, so I'll do the fill valve and the siphon next. Anyway, thanks for watching my boring video. Everybody take care and see you next one. Ta-da.